What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now Plus. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about stop killing games yet again. There was a funny little thing that happened a couple days ago that it seems like video game companies are starting to become aware of this. You have these like labor parties, and a lot of them, and specifically this European one, it's made up of people from, and I think the exact ones, Ubisoft, EA, and Activision. I think at least those three. And it's actually quite hilarious. And look, there's hardworking people that go out and make these games, but these people I think are generally clowns. These are people out there going, hey, don't tell us that we have to make a game, a certain way based off the consumers, making games that are always online. We can't possibly do what you're asking. When we do that, you're basically asking us to stop what we're doing. And it's like, well, no, duh. Again, as we've talked about, like the actual initiative, like what we're signing in these petitions, or what other people, I'm just kind of sharing it, is that simply we just want a little bit more transparency. I've said push as far as possible. Yeah, make it so that always online games have to be online literally forever, for 99 years. Go extreme, because they're going extreme, right? They're saying you don't own anything. You're playing these games. You should be thanking us you own these games. Get over yourself, and then when we shut the game down, stop crying, because you're being kind of losers there. You want to push that? Let's push the exact opposite. Let's push, hey, make your game last literally forever, or guess what? Don't do it anymore. Now, honestly, the initiative is kind of in between. Just have better language. Tell people that they're subscribing instead of buying. All of this different stuff, right? That's not going to change all that much. It's just going to make it more transparent so that people can actually, I guess, be aware of what's going on. So, want to take a quick look at this PC Gamer article. European Game Publisher Group responds to Stop Killing Games, claims the proposal would curtail developer choice. And we scroll down and they say, we appreciate the passion of our community. However, the decision to discontinue online services is multifaceted, never taken lightly, and must be an option for companies when an online experience is no longer commercially viable. We understand that it can be disappointing for players, but when it does happen, the industry ensures that players are given fair notice of the prospective changes in compliance with local consumer protection laws. Private servers are not always a viable alternative option for players, as the protections we put in place to secure players' data, remove illegal content, and combat unsafe community content would not exist and would leave rights holders liable. In addition, many titles are designed from the ground up to be online only. In effect, these proposals would curtail developer choice by making these video games prohibitively expensive to create. We welcome the opportunity to discuss our position with policymakers and those who have led the European Citizens Initiative in the coming months. So that's just golden. I mean, like saying, hey, if some games are just built this way, it's like, all right, do you not see the problem? A lot of this stuff is happening, at the same time. I mentioned in the past, this Anthem thing. Great timing, because yeah, you gave us 6 months notice. You don't actually have to. There's been games, I don't know what they're talking about with, maybe there's different countries that have these laws that they have to tell people within like a certain range, but those agreements that we do in the beginning of so many of our freaking games, so many of them talk about how the publisher can just terminate that entire agreement that you just scrolled by, didn't read, including myself. I don't read it. You scroll through it, you hit accept, right? In that, they tell you they can basically do whatever they want, and they can do it at any time and for any reason, including throwing the whole thing in the trash. Number one, that's just ridiculous, and that gives them so much power to pull the game. In this case, let's just talk about, because it's for a lot of other things, like legal things too, but it's also for pulling the game, for online stuff. They can do it whenever. So I don't really know what maybe it's like a Europe thing where they have to tell people within a certain time period. I mean, whatever, but I mean, like, games have been told, hey, we're going to shut you down in 2-3 months. Is that enough time? The thing is, it doesn't really matter about time, because all you're really doing is stopping new people. Like when you say Anthem is getting shut down in 6 months, right? You're not hurting the people that are going to buy Anthem in the next 6 months. Does that make sense? And I don't know if that's like the way that they convince themselves that it's okay, where they're like, hey, we're going to make it so that anybody that buys Anthem in the next 6 months, they know full well the game's shut down. Cool. Isn't that what we're asking, though, for everybody? Isn't the whole point of this initiative is simply, again, to be more transparent? So when you buy the game day one, you're also told that this game is a highly likely game to get shut down at some point. That's the whole point. What you're doing is you're telling people in the next 6 months that the game is going to get shut down. But what about the people over the last 7 years? I think it was 2018, 2019. What about those people? The people that bought it all the way back then, they're the ones who lose. They're the ones who, by the way, paid full price at launch, paid full price whenever they bought it, maybe got a discount here and there, and they're the ones who get hurt by this. They just have a 6-month window of, okay, you can play the game for 6 months and then it's over. But they are still screwed no matter what. So I don't even understand that logic. It's insanely stupid logic that, again, I think is just this corporate talk. And again, like the whole, well, some games are built this way. Why? Why are some games built to literally only be online, right? And again, a game like Anthem, I talked about before, Friday the 13th, what a glorious mess of a video game that was. You know, that game largely, 95% of that game is playing it online. So when you take that off, yeah, there's a single player that, by the way, they added later. It wasn't there originally with the bots and it's whatever. It's not good. I wouldn't call it good, but it's whatever. It's in there. That's not a game. So again, the logic is off. And like I said in the very beginning, I mean, like, think about who's saying this, who's part of this that issued that statement. Ubisoft, it just did it with The Crew. Ubisoft is one of the worst at doing things like this. EA, oh my dear God, EA just purged Battlefield last year, right? I mean, you could go through every single one. Activision, who wants to talk about the late 2000s games that literally don't exist anymore, the Transformers, Spider-Man, Ultimate Alliance, all those games. Some of that, I mean, that's a little bit of like agreements like Hasbro and stuff, but still, like, so you have some of the absolute worst companies that do it. Again, I mean, like, look, these are higher ups. These are people that really make the final calls, right, and have steered the industry in this way. There's a lot of normal, fine people that work at all three of them. I'm not calling the entire company, but, you know, these are not the people that we should be listening to. And to be honest, it's actually the exact opposite. When these are the people that are so afraid, and this is fear. This is definitely fear, because they were not talking until literally 2-3 days ago. What happened a couple days ago? It reached 1 million signatures, and it's still going. So it's going to go into these places, and it's going to get debated, and laws could very well come out of this, right? So now they're scared. It is fear that's driving this. And good. Like, these are the companies that you want to have some fear in them. If they're not fearful, then obviously you're not doing it right. They are clearly, I mean, they're literally so against the idea that they're saying, hey, we'll listen to what you have to say, but let's be real, nothing that you're saying is actually viable for us to do. All right, well, firstly, you don't really talk about what it is that they're going to do. It's not even as bad as what they're saying. Maybe it leads to what you're saying, but you know what? Tell me how that's a bad thing. Tell me how it's a bad thing that games have to stop being online only. Yeah, maybe it hurts some games. All well, because ultimately I think we're fighting for ownership. We're fighting for, like, us actually getting the games that we're buying for. And if they don't like that, and if we have to lose, whatever, a couple hundred games because of that, I'm willing to take that, because, again, let's push. I'm willing to push all the way. So, yeah, you know what? If you want to make an online-only game, promise that it's going to be out there for 50 years. Promise, I mean, okay, and those are, again, exaggerations. Promise it's going to be available for 2 console generations. So that's like 14 years, 7, maybe 8, so 14 to 16 years. Do it. And I mean, like, if you can't do it, here's the thing, because it keeps going in a circle. If you can't do it, make it slightly different. If you can't promise that the online-only game is going to be online forever, then do something, add something else to it. And maybe that's where they say, well, it's too expensive. Boo-hoo. Boo-hoo. Then either make it last forever, or 5, 10, 15 years, whatever, or add stuff into it, bot-only mode, right? Single-player content. Add something to the game where it can be playable forever. Do that. And that's just that discussion. Ultimately, we might not even get that. We might get, hey, when you're buying Anthem 2, which is never going to happen, but when you're buying whatever, Marathon, it has to say you're subscribing to Marathon, you're not buying it. Because if you buy it, then you're assuming you're going to own it, which you don't actually do. We don't do that for any of the games, right? So maybe that's all we get. I mean, that's still better than nothing. It's not all the way. I would prefer we go even further. But, you know, so I don't know. I still think, though, like, making them afraid, and, like, the way that statement was worded means that it's working. Means that they are concerned about the way that they do it has to change. They, I think, know that. They know that laws might target that, and they're afraid of that. So keep going. Keep signing that if you're able to. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure, as always, you're subscribed to the channel, bell icon turned on. I hope to see you all on the next one.